How people lived 1,000 years ago. It's not what you think. When we think about life 1,000 years ago, around the year 1025, we often picture a world of stone castles perched atop hills, knights in shining armor clashing on battlefields, and peasants trudging through muddy villages, barely surviving the harshness of medieval times. But the truth is far more complex, fascinating, and surprising than these stereotypes suggest. The reality of daily life a millennium ago was a rich tapestry woven from the threads of community, innovation, culture, and resilience. People then were not just trapped in darkness and misery, they were artists and storytellers living vibrant lives, often shaped by forces far beyond their local village. Inventors, homes and communities, more than mud and stone. Contrary to the popular image of crude hovels, many people lived in well-constructed wooden houses with thatched roofs, or sometimes even tiled ones. These homes were modest but functional, designed to keep out cold and rain. Villages clustered near rivers, forests, or fertile fields, where neighbors depended on each other for safety and support. Inside, hearth fires warmed the home, where families cooked meals and gathered to share stories, sing songs, and work on crafts. In towns and cities, bustling markets drew people from far and wide. Artisans, merchants, and farmers converged to exchange goods. Everything from fresh produce and livestock to finely woven cloth, pottery, and metal tools. These markets were vibrant centers of social life, where news, gossip, and ideas flowed as freely as the trade. Surprising hygiene and health practices. The idea that medieval people never bathed is one of the most persistent myths about the past. In reality, many cultures placed importance on cleanliness. Public bathhouses existed in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, serving as places for bathing, socializing, and relaxation. People often bathed weekly or even daily, using natural cleansers like herbs, vinegar, and soap made from animal fats and wood ashes. Medical knowledge, though limited compared to today, was surprisingly advanced in some regions. Herbal remedies, surgical tools, and diagnostic techniques were passed down through generations. Monks and physicians collected knowledge from ancient texts and new observations, sometimes combining spiritual healing with practical treatments. For instance, willow bark was used to ease pain, an early form of aspirin. Food, a culinary adventure. Medieval diets varied widely depending on region, season, and social status. Far from the monotonous bread and gruel stereotype, food was diverse and flavorful. Common folk ate a mixture of grains, legumes, vegetables, and occasional meat or fish. Foraged wild plants, nuts, and berries supplemented their diets. Trade routes like the Silk Road introduced exotic spices, cinnamon, pepper, saffron, that transformed dishes across continents. Wealthier households enjoyed lavish feasts with roasted game, fresh fish, fruits, nuts, and sweet desserts flavored with honey. Cooking was an art, and many recipes included techniques such as smoking, drying, and fermenting to preserve food year-round. Learning and knowledge beyond the castle walls. While formal education was limited mostly to clergy and nobility, knowledge thrived in many forms. Oral traditions were vital. Stories, poems, and histories were memorized and recited, keeping culture alive. Monasteries and madrasas preserved manuscripts and fostered learning, sometimes acting as early universities. In parts of the Islamic world, centers of science, mathematics, medicine, and philosophy flourished, producing works that influenced Europe and Asia. Scholars translated texts from Greek, Persian, and Sanskrit into Arabic and Latin, enabling the spread of ideas across cultures. Even in rural Europe, villagers learned skills from their elders, how to farm, build, and heal. Travel and trade. The world was more connected than you think. Long before airplanes and modern highways, people traversed vast distances. Traders navigated the Silk Road, carrying silk, spices, precious metals, and ideas. Viking longships sailed the North Atlantic, reaching as far as North America. Arab sailors mastered the Indian Ocean, using the stars and monsoon winds to guide their journeys. Pilgrimages to sacred sites fostered cultural exchange. Travelers shared stories, technologies, and beliefs, weaving a global web of interaction that challenges the idea of isolated medieval communities. Technology and innovation. Ingenious solutions. Without electricity or engines, medieval societies harnessed natural forces creatively. Watermills ground grain, sawed wood, and powered machines. Windmills dotted the landscape, especially in places like the Netherlands, where they drained swamps and pumped water. Agricultural advances, such as the heavy plow and three-field crop rotation, boosted food production and supported population growth. Blacksmiths forged tools and weapons that shaped economies in warfare. Builders constructed awe-inspiring cathedrals, castles, and bridges with remarkable engineering skills. Social life and roles. Complex and dynamic. The social order was structured but not static. Feudalism dominated parts of Europe, yet communities negotiated rights and responsibilities constantly. Guilds protected craftsmen's interests. Townspeople gained charters granting privileges and self-governance. Women played varied and essential roles as farmers, merchants, healers, midwives, and sometimes warriors or rulers. Their contributions were vital, but often overlooked in traditional histories. Festivals, religious ceremonies, and seasonal celebrations filled the calendar, fostering community bonds and offering respite from daily toil. Music, dance, and theater thrived as express culture and identity. Challenges and resilience. Life was precarious. Disease outbreaks such as smallpox or dysentery could devastate populations. Harsh winters, floods, and famines threatened survival. Political conflicts brought violence and upheaval. Yet through faith, family, and community, people found strength and hope. In summary, life 1,000 years ago was not a simple story of hardship and ignorance, but a complex mosaic of human experience, full of creativity, connection, and adaptability. People lived in dynamic societies, shaped by culture, technology, and the natural world, navigating challenges with resilience and ingenuity. When you look past the myths, you find a past that is rich, surprising, and deeply human. One that invites us to see the medieval world not as a dark age, but as a foundation for the world we know today. Of